Selecting your topic. Do you ever wonder what your next speech topic will be? You see, I never have to worry about that because my lovely wife always has plenty of ideas for me. And so I have a laundry list of speech topics I can choose from. But for you, and especially for some of you that are newer members, do you ever kind of struggle about what your next topic is going to be? There's two sources. Does anybody have an idea of what those two sources might be? Tom?
Your own experiences? One? No.
Very good.
Oh.
All right.
Personal experience.
Yay.
Right. I'll let you think about the second one.
Other people's experiences.
So there's some sub-bullets for this. I'd like to propose a few other sub-bullets. Like, how about, vapor? You could write a speech about vapor. How you were vaping on your way in and it was misting and there was fog. You could do a whole story even though you live a mile away. You could do a story, you could do a speech about an event that happened. And perhaps it was some funny event that you laughed about later. Maybe it was serious at the time. So events or something that happened in your life could be a possible speech topic. And here's a couple that this canned speech has. Some interests. You could talk about your interests. If you like to do photography, you have a whole laundry list of things I'm sure you could talk about with photography. If you're a runner, you could talk about an experience with running a marathon. If you're an incliner, you could talk about your experience on the incline. You know, all those people that you passed on the way up. How you gave a handshake and a high five and good job, keep moving. You could talk about your career. We've heard Werner talk about his career before. He was a physicist and a scientist, and we've heard some stories that he's talked about. We've heard that Barry was an English teacher, or professor,
Grad student.
grad student. You could talk about your family, and we've certainly heard family stories, especially with some icebreakers on how people grew up. Education. There's a whole open category here of education that you could talk about. Your own education, the education of your kids, for example. How many of you can think of some other types of personal experiences that you could do a speech topic about?
A loss of a family member. Another family, but yeah. A family of friends.
Hobbies?
Hobbies would be very good.
Vacation.
Oh, I love that one. In fact, Tom has talked about his vacation down to South America and the bullfighting.
Socks?
That could be a whole category. Ankle socks, quarter socks, and then colors and variations and all those types of socks.
Material socks too.
Material socks?
Material leather socks. You talk about cotton.
That's very good.
Yeah.
So how about some other ideas?
How about overcoming things that happened in your life, whether it's not how you fall, it's how you get up, so to speak.
Yes, very good. All right, that's the first source, the personal experience. How about the second
How's
source?
sugar doing for you?
How's sugar doing for me?
Yeah. How much sugar? do you
Well, I
think
like
you
sugar.
do? Oh.
Duh.
Deb, you're in.
It makes me happy.
Deb, is that a suggestion on how sugar affects Barry? Would that be a speech topic that you would like to do?
No, it's not.
Well, thank you for that. Second source, reference material. How many of you can think of some types of reference material that you might pull in to make a speech from?
other people's biographies or stories?
That would be a very good one.
Craig, this topic is way too broad. You got to narrow this down because it's like saying, well, you can just speak about anything. Just go to the library and look at a book.
They're they're
A book would be a good
embarrassing.
topic. And I want to thank you, Barry, because narrowing it down is actually part of this presentation, and we'll get to that very shortly. Yes,
You guys are embarrassing me. I think we should just let him, do what he's supposed to do.
I don't like your opinion. My opinion is that your opinion isn't very good.
That's so
well, Tom, would you like to contribute to this discussion about the reference material?
gosh.
Could you think of a reference material that we could use, rather than just talk about different people's opinions? I mean, you could do a speech about different people's opinions and how you don't like them. But let's talk about reference
Is
material.
this a setup?
I think Wikipedia is an excellent reference material, but
That's a
Gotta
good
be
one.
a setup.
that's where my source of authority would come from, Wikipedia, I'd say, on
Absolutely.
everything that I say.
That's the best place to get information.
My man.
Can you think of some other sources? We've already, Barry mentioned you could go to the library and pick out a book. How about websites? Anybody go to websites to pick out materials?
Don't trust the internet.
Yeah. How about the internet?
How about magazines? Does anybody read magazines these days?
No.
Toastmaster Quarterly.
That's actually a very good topic. Are you familiar with the Toastmaster magazine that comes out every month? Do you read it? Raise your hand. Do you get suggestions and ideas from that magazine? You could even do a speech on one of the articles in there for those of you that don't read the magazine every month. That would be helpful.
I finally got them to stop sending me that magazine. It's available online. Why would I need to get it? It just goes in the trash. I'll just read it online.
I don't know, I put in the gym, I put it out there, so someone else can read it.
Well, that's good.
I bring it
That's
here.
good, and when those other people read it, then they're gonna wanna come to Pikes Peak Toastmasters. And they'll already have a topic from the magazine, so they'll wanna join and they'll have a topic for their next speech.
Well, how about those Pikes Peak Toastmasters that they come to? What if it's just any Toastmasters? You might be advertising for another club.
I always leave my magazine and write Pikes Peak Toastmasters on it.
Kind of.
So is everybody getting inspired, not expired? Something that I do when I come up with a speech idea, and hint, hint, maybe it's not even my idea, but I get it from my wife, I'll write it down. I have a whole list of speech topics written down, so I can just choose from those. And if I've exhausted that list, then I come up with one of these best speaker series from Toastmaster International. Anybody can draw on one of these. So that's a suggestion. If something happened, an event happened, or you read a newspaper article, write down the idea. And maybe it's not, maybe you think, well, I can only talk about this for 30 seconds. But if you write it down, you could come back to it a few times, and pretty soon you can think about how to build that into a longer topic and a longer speech. What if you're speaking outside of Pikes Peak Toastmasters? That happens to you occasionally, doesn't it?
Every once in a while, yeah.
Okay, so you may want to narrow down your selection. Your audience, how many people? What's their age range? Their familiarity with the subject, similar education, interests, backgrounds, and experiences. So those are some things. You want to ask some questions. You know, what is this audience like? How many people are going to be there? What do they really care about what I'm talking about? the occasion? Does the event have a theme? Ours has a theme today, it's misting produce. So we talk about vaping and vapor and the water vapor that we saw that we call fog this morning. And if that wasn't enough use of the word vapor, I'll use it a couple more times. When are you scheduled to speak? And I was scheduled to speak first on the list today, so I made sure that my slides worked. And I was going to have John set up, but he's not going to use his. What will happen after your speech?
You will sit down.
I'm sorry.
I don't even think Carol was on the program. She's chimed in, she's doing a great job. Perfect. What are you enthusiastic about? When you go, we know that John is enthusiastic about talking about how to get people pumped up and how to reach their potential. And so, that's what John talks about. What is your knowledge base? What can you draw from when you bring your speech to an outside event? Are you an authority in the topic? And if you're not an authority, can you pretend like you're one?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Be specific. Is the topic specific enough for the time allotted? Do the points support the topic and add to the speech? What can be cut from the body of the speech? Conclusion. Write down your speech ideas and keep track of them. And have a great day, everybody.